Welcome back. All right, so I'm wearing a Kings jersey because they made a trade, and I like the trade for the Kings, but I understand why it happened. This is a board I've been working on throughout the day. So basically, I get up, throughout the day I've been working on it and going through it, and here you go. That's why there's different colors all over it because whatever, depending whatever marker I've got at the moment, I'll just anyway. There you go. Korpisalo is listed as day to day. Columbus fans would know that from the fact that Merzlikins played today, and again, it begs the question of how long can some of these goalies that we know they get hurt all the time. It's bizarre, and so Korpisalo being hurt, does that again with Columbus with the loss they suffered today? They're kind of out of it anyways, but nobody else seems to be really grabbing the bull by the horns right now in terms of fourth spot in that division. Maybe Nashville, and again, we'll see. Anton Strawman did clear waivers this morning, so 12 hours ago. So if you were concerned, there was no reason to be, or should anybody have really been concerned. So that frees up some space, as I said, for Florida to either put him on the taxi squad, or if they trade him, then a team doesn't have to worry about waiving him that gets him, that kind of thing. And of course, if you're a Bruins fan, or if you were following along today, you knew that Marchand went into COVID protocols. We aren't sure exactly why. We know the game took place, and it definitely made a huge difference to their lineup. To have him out. They had Frederick on that line instead, and I mean I like Trent Frederick's compete level, but he doesn't really have the offensive skill of Marchand. And they announced that John Moore is out 5 to 6 months after hip surgery, so he's done for the season. And yeah, for Boston, there's been a lot of injuries throughout the season. They're one of the teams that seems to get hit a lot, and so. Again, they're kind of flying without some of their players right now. Schmaltz from last night's game, he was fined $5,000 for boarding Shimmick. I haven't seen anything in the game so far tonight that tells me the Sharks are going after him or anything like that. And yeah, so Schmaltz gets fined $5,000 for that boarding incident. And of course, if it happens again, then he might be looking at some kind of a suspension. That's why the fines are out there, and they're a small amount because that's all that's allowed under the collective bargaining agreement. OHL. So looking around, and there's an expectation of an OHL announcement next week. There's still optimism that we're going to get some sort of an OHL tournament of some sort. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine on what's going to happen with the OHL. The WHL, of course, has announced their return. They're in the process of getting the players all ramped up and getting her going. And the OHL, it's still kind of up in the air. Yeah, so we'll see when the players get to take the ice. There's obviously been a lot of players who are 2021 draft eligible who have been directly impacted in the WHL and the OHL. And, it doesn't really matter if they're like the big marquee names or not. This is their draft year. And it's been kind of just, taken out from underneath them. And if you have a 20-game tournament, and it just, the pressure that's on these players is intense. So hopefully this doesn't set too many of them back. And then tonight this came out, Cole Caufield has signed his entry-level contract with the Montreal Canadiens. So everybody can be all happy. And if you're an Oilers fan, you're saying, what about Holloway? Holloway suffered an injury. They're going to do x-rays. And if it turns out that he's got broken bones in his hand potentially, if it's a break, then his season's done and it's shut down. If it's not that bad and if he can come back, he may very well sign with the Oilers. Caufield will be burning off a year of his entry-level contract by signing now, but I understand why teams do that, and I don't think it bothers me at all, because A, it's not my money, and B, it's a risk they have as to these guys becoming restricted free agents sooner. But as long as they don't play, I think it's 40 games during a regular season, 41 games during a regular season, you don't burn off a year of their eligibility for unrestricted free agency. I think it drops from 7 years to 6 if they play more than half of that first year. So they don't have to worry about that with Caufield. His unrestricted free agency status isn't affected. And, if you're Montreal, this is good. This means that when you come back from your pause, you've added Stahl to the lineup and Caufield's coming in too. This is suddenly a pretty deep lineup that may be able to score a bunch of goals. Caufield's a pretty gifted goal scorer. So the trade that took place tonight, and this was rumored and then it happened, so Elliot Friedman was reporting it as he's heard that Brendan Lemieux had been traded by the New York Rangers for a pick. It turned out that it's a 4th-round pick in 2021 from the LA Kings. So the LA Kings add Lemieux. They don't give up anything out of their locker room. That tells me that the Kings feel two things. One, that they might have a chance to go for it this year, and two, that Lemieux brings something else to their lineup. That sandpaper, that agitator part of his game. And there's still some upside there. He's still relatively young. So there's still some upside there. And the Kings, I think, did well with this. And the Rangers, Kravtsov's coming in, so you have to make room for Kravtsov. Di Giuseppe's coming back. They just had too many players. And with so many players, you had to trade somebody out. You don't want to waive a player of his stature and end up losing him for nothing. So decent pickup for the Kings. Again, for a 4th-round draft pick, that's completely an understandable trade to make. And then the big news today was, and honestly, this caught me out of nowhere, in Chicago's game tonight, Kirby Dach returned to the lineup. So Kirby Dach is back. And I thought he looked good. He didn't get a goal or an assist, but, his first NHL game in a while, I thought he looked good. And I thought that was a good sign. So while I don't know if Chicago nails down that 4th spot or not, having Dach back can't hurt. So, yeah, that's good news for Hawks fans. And there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always. And because it's Saturday night, you've got the review coming in about an hour. You got tomorrow's preview as well, and then the power rankings as well, because it's Saturday night. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts about any of this. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.